Hey there, this is First. Today I want to do a quick video and show you how you can inspect and remove and replace your sway bar bushings and end links on your vehicle. Alright, but before we get on to the replacement procedure, let me quickly explain the job of the sway bar. Your sway bar is basically there to reduce body roll. And if you don't know what body roll is, well, just think of the last time you made a quick turn, either to the left or to the right. You probably noticed that, let's say if you were making a quick right turn, your body was leaning to the left. In fact, your whole car is going to be leaning to the left if you make a quick right turn. And if you make that turn quick enough, you could even sometimes lift up your wheel that's on the inside of the turn. And if you make it real fast, you could even flip over your car. So your sway bar is there attached to your suspension and the chassis of your vehicle, and works as a lever to press down upon the wheel that's on the inside of the turn on these quick turns, making that wheel have more contact with the ground, therefore reducing body roll. Now, some symptoms of a bad sway bar bushing or end link is that you hear rattling or clunking noises while going over dips or bumps, or even over around corners sometimes. And sometimes you can replicate these noises by just pressing down on the front of your vehicle. Okay, now the easiest way to replace your sway bar bushings is to raise the front of your car, support it on jack stands, and then remove your wheels. But I'll do this one side at a time for people out there with only one jack stand. Alright, now here's a closer look. As you can see here, this is your sway bar bushing, this is your sway bar, and this is the bracket that attaches your sway bar to your frame. And if you follow your sway bar, here's a look at your sway bar end links. Alright, now if you look closely at this lower ball joint of this end link especially, you can see that this rubber boot is completely torn. And in fact, if you peel it back, you can see that there is no more grease in there. So this end link definitely needs to be replaced. Something else you can do to try to replicate the rattling or the clunking noise you hear is to get a pry bar, stick it underneath your sway bar, and then just press down upon it a couple times, see if you can hear any clunking or rattling noises. Alright, as you can see, and as expected, we got a little bit of too much play in the ball joints on the lower side of this sway bar end link. Funny enough, our clunking noise is not coming from our end link nor our bushing. It's coming from our lower control arm bushing back there. Alright, well, we'll save that for a different video. So what we're going to do next is to get these two bolts off and remove this bracket in order to get to our sway bar bushing. And a lot of times it's easy, but on this car, you know, space is limited. So, you know, if you have a wrench or a ratcheting wrench, in my case, your life is going to be a lot easier. Alright, here's the one bolt. And also, if you deal with a lot of rust where you live, you can use some PB Blaster on these bolts. It will make taking them out a lot easier. Now onto the second bolt. Here's our second bolt. And here's our bracket. Alright, next we're going to remove our end link, but also, as you can see, here's something else that needs attention on this car. Might do a separate video on that, but the way we're going to have to remove this end link is that if you go to just turn out these bolts are going to end up turning the shaft and the ball joint inside of the end link. So what we're going to have to do is get a hex bit and put it through here like that. That will keep the shaft in place while you go to loosen this bolt with your wrench. But this hex bit is not going in all the way because there's a corrosion buildup in there. So what we're going to do next is to get some brake clean, spray inside these holes, and to get all that stuff out, then we can push this hex bit all the way in. Also, if you get a pick like this one, you can get in here to try to get any surface corrosion out of these shafts. Alright, so we get our hex bit at the end of our ratchet and we push it in all the way as much as we can. Next, we hold this one with one hand and then twist out the bolt with the other. There's the first one. Here's the second bolt, and here's our sway bar end link. Alright, next we just lift up on our sway bar and remove our sway bar bushing. Like that. Another tip I can give you is after you remove your sway bar bushing, just look around the edges for writings that will tell you the size of your bushing. Because sometimes, even for the same year, make, and model, there's different size sway bars and as a result, different size sway bar bushings. This way you don't have to make multiple trips to the parts store to find the right size bushing for your car. Alright, now before we put our new bushing back on the sway bar, we're gonna use some brake clean and give this part of the sway bar where the bushing is gonna sit over, and also the bracket that holds it in, a thorough cleaning. After cleaning our sway bar and the bracket where our bushing sits in, you should inspect that area for corrosion. If you see a little bit of corrosion, just try cleaning it more. And if that doesn't help and the corrosion is minimal, what you can do is wrap that area with Teflon tape. That will help protect your new bushing. Also, it will help with sway bar bushing noise. Sometimes after installing new bushings, some people complain that they hear squeaking from their bushings, and this will help with that. And if you see heavy corrosion in that area, you're going to have to sand it down to smooth it out. Also, if you have to sand it down, you're going to have to repaint that area to protect it against rust. So that's something you want to keep in mind.
So next we get our new bushing, put it on our sway bar, and just slide it into place.
Next we get our sway bar bushing bracket on, and then we get the bolts. You want to make sure you start these bolts by hand, that way you're not cross-threading them, and then you want to finish up tying them down with your wrench. Also, you want to do these bolts a little bit at a time, that way the bracket goes over your sway bar bushing evenly. Okay. And there you have it, but as you can see on mine, it's nearly impossible to get a torque wrench in there to torque them down to proper torque specifications, but on yours it's probably not, so don't forget to torque them down. Next we're going to put in our sway bar end links, but as you can see these work a little bit different than our old ones. On these we're going to have to use a wrench to hold down this nut that's attached to the shaft at the end of this end link, and then we're going to use a socket to drive down this nut at the end of it. There we go. Now we'll just get these two nuts started by hand. We'll do this top one first. And that's all there is to it, folks. So what we're going to do next is to put the wheel back on this side, put this back on the ground, switch over to the other side, do the same thing there, and we should be good to go. And as you saw, it's pretty straightforward stuff. You know, anybody with minimal mechanical inclinations should be able to pull this off. So with that said, hope this video helps people out there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more like it. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.